Well, I'm so happy you're here. I was sharing that Michelle Jakovic introduced us, and I'm excited to hear about your relationship with her, and then also, I mean, more importantly, about your business, about what you've built specifically in the trades and the roofing industry, more particularly. And so I'll hand it over to you, Mike. Who are you?
Yeah, so my name's Mike Stevens, and I'm the co-founder of American Metal Roofing Supply. We started our business during the height of COVID in 2020, and starting from scratch, with this business, with American Metal Roofing Supply, you're putting in the sweat equity, you're putting in, years of hard work, and in the beginning stages, you're literally you're the CEO of everything. You're answering phone calls, you're doing deliveries, you're cleaning toilets, you're doing everything. Whatever has to get done. It's literally just honest hard work, delayed gratification. Entrepreneurs have to respect delayed gratification. It doesn't happen right away. And then once you build a reputation, you build a team, and then you're still involved with the company, and then you delegate, and take some weight off your shoulders. So um, it's
Yeah.
definitely a humbling experience. I was working 6, 7 days a week. When you're an entrepreneur, you're literally, phone calls are 24/7. There's no
Right.
breaks.
Right. And Mike, did you have any idea just how hard the entrepreneurial path was going to be when you first set out?
Uh, I knew it was going to be hard, but I didn't know it was going to be this hard. I mean, literally, it's so funny how social media embellishes this lifestyle of an entrepreneur and, oh, we're making all this money, all this stuff, but people don't see, people just see the tip of the iceberg, right? They don't see the long hours, the rejections. Um, I was, it was extremely lonely. So people don't see the other side, and that's where people want to be an entrepreneur, and then 2 or 3 months in, they're like, "Oh, this isn't for me." So, you
Yes.
know, it's all about being committed, and this has been going on for 6 years. So, you know,
Wow.
I've, I've seen the great, the good, the bad, the ugly, and it's been a very humbling experience.
Mike, you started your business like just after I, so I started mine in the middle of 2019, but that was before COVID. And so you started your business in the height of COVID, which is very brave of you. What inspired that, especially with roofing? I mean, that requires engaging with customers. It's not a digital business. So what inspired that decision?
No, that's a great question. So, when we were building our homes in Naples, Florida, our family, we noticed that lead times from our competition, was taking a very long time. And,
Mm.
being in a service-based company in the past, you learn the ins and outs of how to run a successful business. So we saw a need to limit, lead times and turnover. Um, we knew that metal roofing, and again, we're not a roofing company, we're a metal roofing supplier. So
Right.
we simply supply. It's predominantly a B2B model, and
Okay.
yeah. So we saw a need, and we're pretty. Our slogan says it all. Fast, reliable, superior quality, and there's no breaks. So I mean, I get messages all the time on social media. 7 days a week, and that's the price you pay. But you know
Mm.
what? If you love what you do, it doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
I love it, and it's it's nonstop. It doesn't stop.
Well, and did you guys see an increase, given that you weren't directly working with customers, were more so being the supplier? Did you find an increase in conversion from their perspective? Thus requiring more demand from you after COVID ended and died down. Did you guys see an uptick in business?
That's a great question. So and we started late 2020, so sales were absolutely horrible in 2020. 2021, we grew significantly, and then
Mm.
we saw a huge increase in our business right after Hurricane Ian. hit Florida in Southwest Florida in 2022, and I tell people all the time that Hurricane Ian was literally our chief marketing officer. So,
Oh,
um, so after the hurricane, that really, we capitalized on that opportunity, saw the potential to scale and just grow, and um, once that happened, once we provided great service, the great thing with B2B models is once the contractor's happy, the customer retention rate's so high that they're happy
yeah,
with your service and they keep coming back.
right. Right. Well, I you know what I think, Mike. One thing that's interesting is that this whole model of having a general contractor or someone that could supply a lot more jobs, even B2C, we can be thinking that way. Where are the potential partners and people who are already maybe doing the exact same work or some other type of element that would get the foot in the door, that it's a constant referral source and or literally supplier where they're actually paying you. That's how I grew my agency. We really got, and same with Foundation First, we're really working with people who either they're constantly in front of our customer or they're the ones that would actually hire us to be a sub for them. And so I think that just the process through which you went to go out building your business really allows for people to think bigger beyond just, the one-off jobs. It's like, no, who are the invest in the relationship, who are the consistent referral sources, and diversify it too, because I'm sure that you all have had to experience that too, of not just having 1 to 2 or maybe 3 consistent contractors, but ensuring that you've got a very wide vast
Network,
of
yeah. So basically, in terms of lead generation and getting new customers, it was very important for us to join the different networking events in Florida. So we're members of the Roofing Contractors Association of South Florida.
okay.
There's the Southwest Florida Roofing Contractors Association. There's which we need to get involved with. There's the NWIR, National Women's in Roofing, and there's
Mm-hmm.
the Southwest Florida chapter, which empowers women entrepreneurs in roofing. So also there's the Florida Roof and Sheet Metal Association where they have annual expos and conventions
Yeah, interesting.
in Orlando. So it's just literally, I feel like the sales is just building those relationships, going to those events, and it in our industry, it really comes down to lead times and pricing.
Mm-hmm.
How's the pricing and how fast can you fabricate the panels, the trim, the custom flashings for the roof. So,
Right.
but you always have to be very responsive and answer right away. I think the reason why we're doing very well is because I think with having a business, there's urgency. So if I don't answer that call, they're going to go to a competitor, and in all due respect, my competition they do a very good job. So any job, whether it's a screw or a piece of trim or flashing, every job counts. So even though you might get a gutter job for 100, whatever the case might be, a couple $100. If that customer's happy, he's going to come back because I think as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
uh, what I've learned is do not do not chase money, chase value.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm chasing value, I care more about, hey, I just got this piece of drip edge from American Metal Roofing Supply and I installed it for a roofing job in Kissimmee, Florida, and I love it. Thank you so much, American Metal Roofing Supply. That beats any amount of dollars in the bank. And even getting a Google review. I care more about Google reviews and people resharing our content than, the,
Yeah.
the dollar coming into the bank. I tell people all the time, when you realize that if you chase value over money, you're going to do very well. And that's what I've learned from other successful entrepreneurs as well.
That's so meaningful, and I think an additional way to add like another that is don't chase the vanity metric. The dollar is very important, right? So this is an and, right? So pursue value over the dollar and pursue your goals over the vanity metric. For example, the value of a Google review and the value of a testimonial, the value of a share, people sharing your content versus the vanity metric of a like. Those are
Yeah.
very, very different metrics and KPIs that we track. And so to this point, what are the KPIs, the key performance indicators that have really helped you grow?
It's literally the KPI, the key performance indicators that really helped our business is you have to leverage your team. You have to leverage your network. When you see these big names like Bezos, Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, you think they did it all by themselves. No, they know how to leverage their team and their network. And I really do believe that it's a collective effort.
Yes.
And also too, I mean, I think also I have a history of starting companies that unfortunately failed, and
Mm,
you learn from that. I had an internet startup strictly for the trades, which was going to be like LinkedIn for blue collar jobs. And the problem,
mm,
the reason why it failed was I was thinking about too much about money than value, and I wasn't working on weekends. So once you learn that, it's a learning curve. I've had failed companies and lost out, a lot of money, but it's a learning curve, and um, I'm proud I did it. It didn't work out. It's a
yeah.
great learning curve. Some people can't take that in. And I think it's not for everyone. And I hang out with people that want to help elevate and grow, and that's where Michelle Jacobic comes in. And the great thing with her is I met her at a local diner, and we're sitting and we're talking, and I feel like it's my female twin, and we were just so aligned. Yeah. So we were just so aligned with our mission and purpose,
Wow.
um, and she's amazing. I look at her as a mentor, and she ran a successful insurance company and sold it, I believe, 11 years ago. And I'm reading her book right now, and I just like to hear other people's stories. And went to her summit, her networking conference a couple weeks ago in Naples, and it was the Vision. I'm sorry, it was the Thrive Summit, and we had a great time just meeting other entrepreneurs, learning their failures, and um, ways to scale our businesses, and getting extensive knowledge and expertise from
Mm,
proven entrepreneurs. That's it was amazing.
I love that. And to that point, you said you both resonated over your mission and vision. And Mike, talk to me a little bit about that because I think so many times, before well, let me just back up. Your mission and vision. You've had a personal mission and vision that has allowed for you to grow and propel forward throughout all these different businesses, right? The ones that have failed you forward so that you learned something invaluable that now positions you to build something of great and immense value because you've learned the necessary value or lessons from. And so us each having a mission and vision for our own personal lives allows for those mutual connections with people that are necessary partners to move us forward. Can you talk to me about how you've incorporated that? Like what are your mission and visions for your life, both personally and professionally, and how do they intersect?
Yeah, I think my overall mission and long-term objective is what I've realized. Like I said earlier, I know I said do not chase money, chase value. It's not just that, it's also impacting others to make them a better person. And you know what? You're not going to have the answers for everything, but just keep learning and growing. Always be a student. I
Mm,
think back in my early 20s, after college, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to elevate and grow. And there was a period of time where I got, lazy, but you always have to constantly learn. We're always learning each and every. I'm going to keep learning till the day I die. So always keep learning and growing. And remember, always be the dumbest person in the room, and
mm,
that's going to help you elevate and grow. And just hang out with people that are aligned with your goals and beliefs. I can go to a bar right now and meet drinking buddies, but that's not going to help me get from A to B. So
right.
um, I work 7 days a week. I also have my real estate license as well. So I'm not the typical guy that go out to football games on the weekends and get drunk with their friends. I'd rather work and do something else and take care of my family. And yeah, I mean, it's just keep on learning and growing. And guess what? We're all gonna make mistakes. Like that's part of life. Like you're not
Mm.
gonna run a successful business first try. You have to try multiple times, and which I did. I mean, there's a whole list I can give you.
I that's so incredibly important of the just keep going, especially to mention your initial comment about we see the tip of the iceberg for most people, and we don't actually hear about what's really on the real journey. Why this, craft and calling exists. We're looking to make it more so of a community beyond just a podcast, and because it's so critical that we don't do this alone. Connection is so incredibly important, and we need to have each other, and we need to learn how much better if I can learn from your lesson of that pursue value over money rather than having to learn it myself. Then we all grow so much faster and upward rather than almost like this lateral, we're all kind of learning the same lessons at the same time, we all kind of grow at the same time. Rather, we are able to build on top of each other and move forward
Yeah,
in a powerful way.
absolutely. And, I think also too, having my real estate license, what I've learned, I've been in Naples for over 30 years. And the one thing
Mm,
I've learned about Naples is, Collier County is such a big county, but it's very small at the same time because everyone knows each other. And the one thing I tell people all the time about getting their real estate license in Southwest Florida is you want to have a good reputation with other agents, and do not burn bridges because
mm,
everyone knows each other, and it takes years to build a reputation, and one little incident
mm,
to it goes down the toilet. So, word of mouth spreads very far, especially in Naples and in Southwest Florida. So,
yeah.
um, that's why with a lot of networking events and open houses, I'm very cordial. A lot of networking events, there's drinking involved. I have max 2 drinks. So nice to meet you. Have a great day. And, you know, um, that's it. I mean, and the thing is, it's very competitive here too. I mean, I swear to God, half of Naples is a real estate agent. I feel like I think there's more real estate agents than actual listings. So it's crazy. And I swear to God, 7% of real estate agents get all the work and 93% are just not as active. The 7%, are the ones that are always consistent and they just stick with it. They don't give up.
The consistency, the sticking with it. What else? I mean, we've talked in previous podcasts, I've talked about the 1%, but I like this concept of the 7%, right?
Yeah.
What else constitutes the 7%? And we'll say the 1% just
No,
to,
no, I think
yeah.
going back to the 1%, what I've learned is there's a lot of very, very smart people. And the thing is, there's a lot of smart people that won't get into a different venture or business because the problem is they overanalyze and overthink things and they don't do it.
Mm,
Entrepreneurs, I swear to God, you know what? They might not be as smart as the extremely smart person, but they'll go in and make a lot of mistakes and then they replicate and build systems to teach themselves how we can avoid that next time. And they just dug in and then people laugh and make fun of them and then they build systems and then they come back. Wait, how did you do that? Like, how does that work? And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, people are afraid to just get in. I mean, in the past, I started my internet company, it didn't work out. People laughed. I did day trading, I did mobile detailing, and people laugh, and then they want advice, and
yeah,
um,
they do. What's
yeah,
good when people laugh and then advice?
yeah, and I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to I'm definitely trying to be as humble as possible because I also get messages all the time on social media. People want job opportunities. I get the amount of messages I get from kids from high school and college that want a job or
Mm,
want me to donate or sponsor their basketball program. I mean, I'm thinking about maybe even starting a recruiting agency. I mean, the amount of people that want jobs. I mean,
yes.
I could be on the Russell 2000 or Forbes 100. The amount of inquiries I get.
Oh, I
So
bet. I bet. Well, and it's interesting too. I think industries are changing with the rise of AI. Now we've got AI jobs. There's a lot more in the trades world where people are realizing that there's some real benefit to learning a trade physically versus learning a trade digitally. In one sense, Google Ads is a trade in some regard, but it's all being replaced.
And it's so crazy. I was reading this article about, I was watching this documentary on Larry Ellison, the wizard of Silicon Valley, who started Oracle. And it makes total sense. He said, if you don't adapt to market change, you're going to fail and you got to be different. I feel like with the AI revolution, if you don't learn how to leverage it, it's going to be AI is going to be your best friend or your worst enemy. And it's so funny because I remember growing up. I don't know if you watched the Disney Channel growing up.
Yeah.
Remember on Fridays they had like the Disney movie nights or whatever.
Mm.
Do you remember that movie Smart House?
Oh, I never watched that.
Oh, so basically, it's a family that moves into the smart house, and it's literally AI. Like it's literally helping out
Wow.
with everything. But then they get so smart that it controls you. And I thought of it like society already predicted the future, and this was almost 25, 30 years ago.
Ollie and even some of the older ones in the 80s where like all the robots in the films doing.
Minority
Oh, did you get? Can you say that again?
some of those movies in the past, like Minority Report with Tom Cruise and Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you ever saw that, but I mean, it's crazy. They've already talked about this, 30 years ago.
Hmm. Mike, I love this conversation. So initially, we were talking about the 1%, and you said the consistency, you said the never stopping, and you've also added a few more things since then. The top 1% has systems and processes. They act as an entrepreneur, not just a founder of a business, because the difference between an entrepreneur and a founder and the ability to succeed and grow really is predicated first systems and being able to replicate and automate, and then second predicate really out. So the next piece that I would add to the top 1% is that they need to have a brand that cuts through the noise, that differentiates them from everyone else, because especially with AI coming in, people look and sound exactly the same, and you need to know who you are to really stand out in the market.
No, absolutely. Real estate is definitely I think the key position with getting my license is, actually being a local for 30 years.
Mm.
I'm not going to say carpetbaggers, but basically people that come into Naples 4 or 5 years ago and talk about Naples lifestyle and this life and that life, and you're not an actual local. You're just kind
Yeah,
of, you're kind of like a, carpetbagger, which,
yeah,
you know, uh, so I think just being an actual local for 30 years, going to elementary school, middle school, high school, and genuinely and organically knowing the area.
yeah.
And that's not the only thing I do too now is I'm also a limited partner in a private equity firm. And it's actually a buddy I went to college with, and he used to help me with my finance homework. And his name was Mike Zhang. And I'll be like, hey, Mike, I really appreciate, you take care of my homework and helping me out. Can I, take you out for drinks or do, have a boys' night? And he's like, oh, no, I got to study. And I said to myself 15 years ago, this guy's going to do amazing things. And he already has. He left as a principal in another private equity firm and started his own. And I was sold. And what I've learned in life from a lot of successful entrepreneurs and other people is, you're going to have a handful of opportunities. And if you don't have cash to invest, you lost. So you always want to make sure you have cash on hand for great opportunities. And basically, I help him generate deal flow. So, basically, they might look at 500 companies a year and they specialize in lower to middle market buyouts. And it's not a traditional private equity firm. It's a total capital approach where they're not leveraging debt from the banks. Basically, they get all the money from the LPs, and
Mm.
the LPs killing two birds with one stone by uh, investing the equity in the business and the debt. So the
Wonderful.
L, the LPs getting an annual distribution of 10% and then a multiple once that company sells. And basically, all the private equity firms, they make their money off the carried interest. So, if they sell for a certain amount, they get 20%, 20% of the actual sale of the business, and then the rest they distribute to the limited partners. So, they look at companies with, a certain amount of EBITDA and then, total sales. I don't want to get really into detail just for a confidentiality, standpoint. So, I just can't sit still. I like to move and, you can't save cash now because I mean your purchasing power. If you save cash, it's going to lose 7% by the end of the year. So that's why I invest in crypto and commodities and real estate and stocks, like I'm not as liquid because it proves to show you that if you just save cash, you're losing your purchasing power because we keep the government, the feds, the treasury, they keep printing money. So basically it's the cash is being diluted because it's an infinite amount. We keep printing.
Right.
Um, and the great thing with crypto, it's decentralized and it's limited supply and increased demand. So when you have that, that value is going to, it's already skyrocketing right now. Bitcoin just hit an all-time high, I believe, of like 123,000 a coin, you know?
Wow, I did not know it was that much.
Yeah, so I'm in the crypto markets, state other alternative coins, but I love it because I mean I think it's a complete replica of what happened back in 2014 when the New York City Taxi Commission, they were so upset with Uber. So Uber came out I think in 2012, 2013, and there were strikes all over New York City, and it proves to show you over time you have to adapt to market change. People don't want traditional cabs anymore. They want fast efficiency, and that's what's happening with the traditional banking system now. They're all freaking out because a lot of retail traders and investors are looking at other alternative assets where they're getting a better return on their money. So
Right, right. So to add to this list of the 1% that we've been creating, I mean, really diversification of assets and finances and investment. You know, it's not all in one place,
you
and
got to diversify. Yeah.
to diversify, and also with specifically with crypto, I think it's helpful to even just make this note, like investing there. There is obviously you can see data trends with Bitcoin, but a lot of other coins, I have found it's wisest and safest to invest what I'm willing to lose just in case, because it is a little bit more of the wild, wild west. However,
Yeah.
I and people closest to me have made a ton of money. However, not a ton, but a couple 100,000 and pulled out. Whereas
Great.
others have
Yeah. Sometimes
more and they're just letting it sit there, right? Because that's actually, it is continuing to go up.
like what I do is like the profit I made off of certain coins is I just reinvest the earnings in, maybe some dividend paying stocks or in gold and silver and, just increasing passive income. It's not about just working harder now. A lot of baby boomers now, were like back in my day, I worked 11, 12-hour days, 100-hour weeks. Now it doesn't matter because,
Yeah.
you leverage AI and technology and it's about working smarter, not harder now.
Mm. And considering that there's probably a decent amount of people listening to this who are just like my dad, who are in the trades, and AI, it's like, what's that? AI, how do you define AI? What does that mean? Artificial intelligence. And then how do I even use that in my business? It is pretty overwhelming. And so if you were to give one or two examples of how you use AI, if they've never engaged with it at all for their trades business, how would you encourage them to move forward?
Well, basically, you would leverage AI to obviously to create efficiencies in your business and really cut out waste. I think AI is going to be pros and cons. I think people that know how to leverage AI, they're going to win, and I think you're going to see. Honestly, I think you're going to see a huge income gap because there's already income inequality in this country where the people that are going to leverage AI, they're going to win. And then, assembly workers and the blue collar workers, like, how can we leverage them using AI? Because if they don't adapt to AI, there's going to be massive unemployment in this country.
Right. How have you personally used it for your business?
Just to create, maybe for templates or presentations. You know, just right now, just templates and presentations. I am using a little bit of Chat GBT. Obviously, this is still the beginning. This is still very preliminary, but we're always
Right.
looking for other platforms to create efficiencies in our business and all that stuff. I mean, do you have any recommendations of other platforms that small
Yeah.
businesses use to leverage AI?
Yeah. With Found, we're using Go High Level, which allows for instantaneous text messaging and email to second customer reaches out. We have automated workflows that, it takes the initial time of okay, what do we want the workflow to look like? But you mentioned ChatGPT. Y'all, if we tell ChatGPT, this is my objective is that the second a customer reaches out, I want to deliver a really excellent customer experience. I want them to feel. So we have to know how we want our customer to feel when they engage with us. Do we want them to feel like we're proficient? Do we want them to feel like we're actually really caring and empathetic? Do we want them to feel like we're actually really authoritative? Because each one of those feelings that we want them to have is going to inform the messaging. And so if we train our ChatGPT, which is free, it's also $20 a month for the professional version.
Yeah.
I don't pay the $200 a month. Everything that I get with the $20 a month is great. And I'll say, hey, ChatGPT, for those of you who are just starting and don't have an account, I'll say, I'm Christene Marie. I'm the co-founder of Foundations First, a marketing business for the trades companies. I would like for you to help me build a sales funnel that allows for me to send automated messaging when somebody contacts me via form on my website. And then this is what I ask. I say, what questions do you have to better understand me and my goal in order to help me create this? And then it will say, okay, give me your website. Give me who are your customers? And will ask me a list of questions. I'll answer. And then after it'll say, okay, I think you should have 4 different touch points. I think you should have 2 texts, 2 emails, and then it will give me the messaging and copy for each one. And then I say,
That's
okay,
crazy.
how do I do this? And then I'll say, go high level, sign up. It's amazing. It gives you the step by step, but y'all, the better the output from the AI ChatGPT tool, is contingent on the degree of quality of our input. So we
I
need to have,
would absolutely, and I would love, after this podcast, I would love for you to text me some info about it. I'm always trying to find efficiencies. Again, I'm
yeah.
still I'm still in the preliminary stage with AI, and I'm trying to make it my no longer an acquaintance but a friend, and
Yes.
see what we can do. Absolutely.
Well, and you're doing it already with using it for content creation. Y'all, we all need to be going out to our customers, whether B2B or B2C, with content. And so the more you can, I actually did a whole presentation on this last week, about how to teach the AI bot to create content that sounds like you. Because what we don't want content that's not informed by the strength of our brand and we look and sound like everybody else. That's actually worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that you're already utilizing it in a really, really strong degree. But I'll send you a note after regarding Go High Level because it is really powerful and it saves so much time. And you just made such a brilliant point about an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur knows how to leverage systems and tools and processes. And y'all follow Mike's example. I mean, this is huge.
It's so funny, exactly what you said. It's a great entrepreneur knows their strengths and weaknesses. The question they always say is, I know what I don't know. And that's where you leverage your team and you
Yeah.
delegate and you learn from other people. And the one thing I've learned is there's always someone out there that's going to be smarter than you, better than you, whatever the case might be. And don't compete with them. Learn from them. And that's going to make you a better person.
That's so good. And Mike, from even just you sharing, it's really apparent to me how much you have let others inform you in terms of lessons, in terms of mindsets. You've mentioned a number of various sources, articles you've read, books you've read, mentors, attending Michelle's event. I just think that and attending networking events, like I just really respect and appreciate the way that you leverage community because we really,
You have to.
that's
Absolutely.
cool. So, Mike, thank you for your time today. I am so grateful for this conversation and for you, my friend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And if you ever need anything, please let me know. And I'd love to add you to my network and see how we can work together long term.
I would love that. Mike, thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.
You too, Christine. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Bye.